Hello, hello. It's Rabbi Shmuel Pollen, and you are watching another episode of the Light Unto the Nations show, the best show on YouTube. And we have a book for sale. It's called All In for God. It's going to help you out with all your doubts about your faith and about the Bible, any contradictions, and why the Bible condones slavery, and how to be happy, and do we really have free choice, and so many other topics. We've made it into a course, 20 modules. You can get it all at allinforgod.com. Read all about it at allinforgod.com. We have a chilling episode for you today. We're going to get onto the darker side of things. This is where things get a little bit darker. I don't like to talk about dark things, but there is a lot of darkness in the world, and if we're not aware of it, we could mistake it for light, and that would be tragic. And we must understand that to the extent that you don't hate evil, that's the extent to which you love evil. And if you are kind to the cruel, you are being cruel to the kind. So that means there is a place for hate. And I have hate in my heart, and I'll tell you exactly who I have hate for, and it's not what you think. The Bible tells us exactly how to hate in a way that makes us better people. So it's time to talk about the other side. We are not righteous Gentiles in a vacuum. There is an enemy, a very identifiable enemy. We will name him in this chapter. And he is actively working against everything that we stand for. He is our nemesis. We are all in for God, which means we are God's soldiers, and our nemesis has soldiers that are all in for him, the accursed one. I think by now you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Satan, the walking, talking snake of the Garden of Eden, the one who tricked our parents into eating poison and plunged all of mankind into 6,000 years in which no day doesn't have a human tragedy. This is the one who poisons the minds of mothers who send their children off to be suicide bombers. The one who makes our sleep time nightmarish. He's the one who gives us nightmares. He's the one who came back as Hitler and exterminated 6 million of God's chosen people and many others. He's the one who has gassed babies. Satan is pure evil. He is the source of all evil. He wants to torture and torture, especially the most innocent. And the most cruel thing you can do is when someone does something good for you and you punish him for it. That's what Satan loves to do. God created him for a reason. The challenges he puts in front of us make us stronger. But Satan goes far beyond what God allows him to do, criminally far beyond. The rabbis say he will be punished for every last thing he did out of his jurisdiction in the end of days, and it won't be pretty for him. He sends in his soldiers, which are demons, to possess us, to lead us to sin, as in the phrase, I was just possessed to do it. Who were you possessed by? You were possessed by Satan's demons. That is possession by a demon. And any temptation to indulge any animalistic instinct for its own sake is possession by a demon. He also more physically possesses people, as you may have seen in exorcism movies. He also does that. He comes in each generation. His name was Haman in the times of Purim. His name was Hitler in the times of World War II. And now his name, as of this, when this course was created, may be Ahmadinejad, who has now stepped down. But we have other enemies of the Jewish people, as we shall see. He always comes for the chosen people, the Jewish people, because he is the exact opposite of God. If God chooses us to love the chosen people, he hates the Jewish people. And you must understand that if you decide to become a righteous Gentile, a Noahide, you are a target, just like any Jew. The Jews were called soldiers in the Bible because they had to be soldiers against the army of Satan. Satan has a family, a nation. That nation is called Amalek. And just when the Jews were burning hot with spirituality after the giving of the Bible, Amalek attacked them. Why? Were the Jews a threat to them? In no way. because they hate what God loves, and they are opposite. Just as we are all in for God, they and his demons and Amalek, his nation, are all in for Satan. Just as we love God for no reason, they love Satan and hate the Jews for no reason. So there is this other aspect to being a Noahide, to being a righteous Gentile, that you must be aware of. A Noahide is a soldier. A Noahide must be ready to defend himself and go on the offensive against Satan and his army. I have performed exorcisms, and I have special prayers in this course, which are part of this course, that work to foil Satan's plans on yourself and others. It is interesting. The Bible makes it crystal clear that there is a nation called Amalek, and we should never, ever forget to wipe out Amalek through war or through spiritual means, as we'll talk about. It doesn't say forget Amalek. It says never, ever forget Amalek. And the Torah doesn't waste words. The Jews read this every single year. It's mandatory for them to hear it. And I have never met a Jew who fulfills this commandment. I have never met a Jew who wipes out Amalek, which is Satan, every single moment of their lives. I came along, and the first thing I had to do was identify Satan, because you can't hate what you can't identify. I identified him as the walking, talking snake that roams the earth. I know this from the Genesis story. I know Satan used to be married to our mother, Eve, and he talks. So I know he is in basically human form, but he is called a snake. So I know he has snake-like features. If you are a maven in UFO research, he is probably the father of all the reptilians. The good news is that you can kill a snake. He is a real being that is limited by time and space. He is extremely powerful, but he is mortal. And one day, he will be killed, and the world will be free. I also know that he's a shapeshifter. He can morph into the shape of different people. I know that because I know Hitler was Satan, and Hitler looked like a man, not a snake. Satan is a very difficult enemy to tackle. He is constantly on the move, and I have learned how to battle him. I have learned how you must never, ever forget to wipe out Satan. I have learned a lot from Satan. I learned that you cannot truly love good if you don't truly hate evil. I learned that it's not enough to love God. You must hate Satan just as much. I learned that I must always carry hate in my heart, because the more I hate Satan, the more I love God. Every time I want to curse someone, I curse Satan instead. That is what he deserves, because he is the one who made that person act badly towards me. It was not his own volition. It was Satan and his demons causing him to act badly towards me. It wasn't his fault. He was demon possessed. One of Satan's soldiers got to him. People often get angry at me for no reason. They thumb down my videos. They can't understand why they do it. It's because Satan knows that I am his biggest threat. He fears me and my keyboard and my microphone. Because the war with Satan is not primarily a physical war, the ultimate goal is not to simply kill this creature, because we don't correct the source of the problem that way. He will just come back in another form. So I curse Satan. I have only experienced blessings in my life from cursing Satan, and you will too. The more the curses, the stronger the curses, the more the blessings. When you are on the road and you get cut off, don't curse the person, curse Satan. This directs all our anger where it belongs. Satan wants to make each person act badly and get us all fighting with each other. Everything that divides you from another is the work of Satan. That is his footprint. The antidote is to love each other with no limits. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what your politics or your rap sheet, you must be a soldier in this army against Satan. Satan's deepest fear is the group hug. He especially fears us pulling together and taking all our hate for each other and putting it on the one who divides us, which is Satan, the walking, talking snake. Notice how in Genesis, Adam blames Eve for the original sin, Genesis 3:12. This certainly caused her to respond in kind and blame him. And husbands and wives have been fighting with each other ever since. Notice who gets away scot-free while we are busy fighting with each other. Satan. Nobody blames Satan, the one who actually caused the problem. There, and only there, is where the blame and the curse belong, not on each other. This brings us to another aspect of the righteous Gentile, also known as the Noahide. The Noahide is an anti-Satanist. The 7 Noahide laws are everything Satan hates. So that's why we don't do them, because we are anti-Satanists, and hurting Satan is our first priority. When Hasidic philosophy was revealed, at the times of the Alter Rebbe, the first of the Hasidic dynasty, there was a group that was possessed by Satan. They were Orthodox Jews called the Misnagdim. And the Alter Rebbe used to say, if you can't get a hold of me and you need a ruling about a halachic legal matter in Judaism, all you have to do is go to a misnagid, the ones possessed by Satan, ask them the question, and whatever they say, you do the opposite. That's exactly what we're talking about here. Hate Satan, and your love of God grows. He is the opposite of whatever good says. A Noahide, a righteous Gentile, is a soldier. And by watching this, you are hereby enlisted into the battlefield. I'm sending you to the front lines, and you have 3 weapons: your thought, your speech, and your action. If you can vet all 3 of these and make sure Satan has not a touch of power over any of them, if you keep them clean, you will defeat him. That's what he wants. He wants your thought, your speech, and your action. That means if it's time to stand up in your church and you want to stay sitting down, you push yourself and you stand up. If you want to gossip about the couple in the other aisle, you push yourself and you shut your mouth. And if you want to think lewd thoughts about a man or a woman in the back, you push yourself and you force your brain to think of something else. If you haven't been battling Satan, that means Satan has been all over you this whole time. So there is a lot of work to do. Throughout the day, there is a lot of speech we do and a lot of thought and a lot of action. How many of them are for God and how many of them are for Satan? It's one or the other. If this is your first time fighting Satan, that means you are way behind in the game. The good news is light shines far more powerfully than darkness. Satan can't stand the light. He can't stand the fire of those who go in all in for God. When you become a righteous Gentile, a pious Noahide, you put yourself right into the line of fire. Have you ever noticed how the world is in a constant state of war? Have you noticed how every country is broken up into political parties that cause the entire population to dislike the other half? Does your spouse suddenly hate you and want a divorce? Have you ever been at a party and right when things seem to be going really well, something bad happens? It seems like something bad happens every time things are going great. Does it have to be like that? No, it doesn't. All of that is Satan. All of it. The party trick is simply a repeat of how he attacked the Jews when they were coming off a high, when they were leaving Egypt and coming from Mount Sinai. They were hot, and he wanted to cool them off. That's what Satan does. He's a scorpion. He cools you off. Right when things are going good, he wants it to go bad. He doesn't want it to go bad when things are going okay. He wants it to go bad, especially when things are going really good. He wants to take you off your perch. Right when you start to turn to God, he wants you to turn to him. No longer. When we all come closer together as Noahide soldiers with our thoughts and our speech and our action all dedicated to God, those kinds of things won't happen anymore. Satan will be dying, if not dead, and the world will be free. Never, ever, never, ever forget to wipe out Satan. It's a biblical commandment. Jew and non-Jew as one, against everything that divides us and the one who divides us. May you always have hate in your heart for the one who causes hate between everyone else. May you always hate Satan, and may that bring the Messiah immediately. God bless.